On today's show, we have tons of number ones hitting your local comic shop. We're going to talk a little bit about War of Realms from Marvel and your Nerd New Year's resolutions. Check it out. It's Previews World Weekly right now. What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday, it's 4 p.m., which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and as usual, we're here every week to remind you to check out the things that are happening at your local comic shop, which actually managed to get out of my mouth, but I stumbled.
That's okay, though. Hey, Thea.
Hello.
Guess where you were this weekend?
Well, kind of this weekend.
Kind of this weekend, part of this weekend.
During the time period of
MagFest. Yeah, so was I.
Yeah.
And I saw you dressed up like what do you say, Bowsette? I can never get it right.
It's Bowsette.
Bowsette.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Jumped on that bandwagon.
Fake gamer girl right here, this me.
You're the fake gamer girl?
I'm the fake gamer girl.
Beautiful.
I can't even say Bowsette. But yeah, like you dressed as Bowsette. Like that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Gotta get that gaming cosplay in.
Yeah, of course, right? And you should do it there. I actually really like that show. That's actually a pretty cool show. Like I go every year and like, it's so much of a party.
Oh yeah.
That I often wonder how long before they kick everybody. You know, before the lights come on and everyone scatters.
Like, people are like, it's a con. No, it's not. It's a festival, guys.
It's a festival,
It's MagFest.
It's pretty impressive. And we did a live stream panel there, and I sat down with Natasha and I sat down with Rick, and we talked to people about like how to live stream, which I know nothing about. But
you tried.
But I tried, and it was fun. Yeah, it was a good show. So like, definitely check that out. Like I think Conan X has it on their Twitch stream, and you know, I don't say much, but she says plenty, and so does Rick, and hopefully it's informative. It inspired me. I want to do a Twitch stream now, so
there you go.
I'm into it.
Oh, good.
But you know, that was just fun stuff this weekend.
Absolutely.
And the fun stuff continues at your local comic shop this week. For example, Anna Mia is here, and she's going to show you some of the cool things hitting comic shops today.
Hey Previews World, Mia here with a look at what's at comic shops this week. So let's jump on in. Is that it? No way. Your comic shop has something for every type of customer. So stop at a comic shop today, and I'll see you back here next week.
Thanks, Anamia. Another super lineup. Anything you're looking forward to?
Yes, Prodigy. Prodigy #2 is out this week. It's Mark Miller and it's Raphael Albuquerque. You know, we talked about this before when #1 dropped. It's a little bit like Limitless.
Yep.
And a little bit like Buckaroo Banzai. Actually, someone mentioned that to me the other day. I was like, oh, actually, I just like Buckaroo Banzai. I just like, you know, like sometimes you just need a story about a cool guy doing cool stuff, a cool character doing cool things. You know, I'll be gender neutral on that one. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's just a classic hero type, and he's just good at everything. And I'm sure at some point he's not going to be good at everything because that's just how these arcs go. But you know, just cool dude doing cool stuff. Nice. I'm into that. Yeah. You know? So if you want representation in books too, this is actually a really good book for that.
Classic.
So yeah, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking at the Dreaming.
Oh right, yes. Sandman.
So we're on #5. Yeah, it's a Sandman offshoot. It takes a lot of the characters that you know and love and has them doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty complicated. So I'm not even going to try and explain it to anybody. But if you like Sandman and you like these characters, then go check it out.
I just watched a video of Neil Gaiman talking about like how he kind of came into that world, and it really just kind of boiled down to like. The reason it's so complicated is because he was like, he'd never done a monthly book before. And so he was just sort of like, I'm just going to throw everything in there just to keep this book going.
And it just sort of turned into this labyrinth of stuff.
Exactly. So, you know, and then of course from that you get Death and you get Lucifer and all this other stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Also out this week is something I actually discovered when I was going through the list this week. It wasn't originally on my poll list. Creature Tech. which I found out is from the creator of Earthworm Jim. It's a book that came out a while back. Yeah, see? Right, yeah. Right, she perked up. It came out a while back, and I guess they were like collecting it for now, but like, I'm a sucker for squirrely premises. And this is a really squirrely premise. So and I'm just going to read it because like when I read it, I was like, oh, I'm going to read this. Resurrected by the Shroud of Turin, sorry, we're getting kind of out there. The zombified Dr. Jameson intends to finish what he started 150 years ago, destroy Earth with a giant space eel.
Space eel?
Space eel, yes. It's insane, and I'm totally into that. Like I love zany concepts, and it could go anywhere, and I'm into that. And that's what makes comics
little
cool.
absurdity makes life a little better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What else are you looking forward to?
The Dread Gods trade paperback.
Yeah,
come
right.
out. And that's pretty cool. It's from Ominous Press, sci-fi fantasy, and it's basically these gods in a fantasy world sort of are discovering that they're actually monsters in a post-apocalyptic landscape. So again, feel like those post-apocalyptic landscapes.
I was about to say, okay, yeah.
But it seems like an interesting book. I mean, I never read any of them, but I was looking at that trade.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good jumping on point. I hadn't even heard about that until we kind of like discussed it earlier. So yeah, it sounds cool. Yeah. So yeah, all that stuff is available this week.
That's very true. Yeah, we have a ton of number ones that came out this week.
Yeah.
We have Criminal.
Yeah.
Young Justice. Turok. Captain Marvel. And Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in any of those characters or concepts, like now's a good jumping on point because they're all just starting out.
Some nice spread of characters too. Like, and I know a lot of people are excited about the new Criminal series and Young Justice actually, because I know that's like the big Wonder Comics launch. So, and so now we're going to take a look at news, and we're going to talk about what has been going on in the world of comics for the last 7 days. Let's take a look.
Take a look at some of the top stories we've got going on over at the PREVIEWSworld website. First up, DC Comics paid tribute to Marvel Comics legend Stan Lee last week with a full-page memoriam featuring his iconic catchphrase. DC publisher Dan DiDio said upon Lee's passing, "Without Stan Lee's fertile and creative mind, endless energy, and work ethic, comic books would have been completely different from what we know and enjoy today." DC's tribute to Lee appears in all of their January 2nd offerings.
I love that.
It's really cool.
Yeah, right?
Like, they've got the full page in all the stuff they've got coming out, right?
Yeah.
And it's just really sweet.
Yeah, stay classy, DC. I love
Absolutely.
that. Our editor, Johnny Rose, was talking about he didn't know that distinguished competition isn't like them being like bragging about themselves. That's what Stan Lee used to actually call them. And in itself, it was kind of a dig at them.
Yes.
But at the same time,
It's
like,
meant to be a little snarky.
Yeah, it's meant to be a little
Because they are
snarky.
the competition.
Exactly.
But
I didn't know!
No, I mean, that's fair.
whatever.
Fake nerd. No, just kidding.
All the fake nerds today.
All fake nerds today. There you go. But yeah, no, I thought that was really neat. Like they didn't have to do that, and they did. So I thought that was cool. Yeah, I love it.
Stand up people.
Stand up people. Distinguished competition. What else we got?
Next up, Netflix has revealed the trailer for their upcoming movie Polar, based on the Dark Horse comics series of the same name. This is going to star Mads Mikkelsen, Vanessa Hudgens, Catherine Winnick, and Matt Lucas, and will be available to stream on Netflix on January 25th. And remember, you can always check out the story before then by picking up the collected editions of the Polar comic at your local comic shop.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
It actually does look cool. Like I kind of came into that one pretty late. Like I have not read the comic.
Me either.
But like it looks kind of comic booky. Like it starts off really like super slick, and then like they introduce the villains, and they're very colorful. And I was like, oh, okay, I kind of like that. Right? Yeah.
Plus, Dark Horse is great. I
Dark
love
Horse is great,
basically everything that they make. So
I feel like this was like a imported story. Like I think like it came from somewhere else.
it has
I won't
that
say
feel
where.
to it.
But
It doesn't feel American.
It doesn't feel American. No, it doesn't. I will say this. I swore when the trailer started, I thought Vanessa Hudgens was the boy from Stranger Things.
Oops.
And it took me a second. It wasn't until her name flashed on screen. I was like, oh, that's Vanessa Hudgens?
Gotcha.
Johnny, if you get a chance, can you please put a picture of her and him next to each other? Because they look like the same person. It's really weird. I'm just saying. It was interesting. It took me, my brain went for a second.
Short-circuited.
But yeah, like definitely check out the comic. And I just love, I love certain tropes, no matter how many times like I come across them.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of the hitman who gets sucked back into like the world of assassinating people. You can't hate on that, whatever. It's
stuff.
fertile ground.
Yeah.
What else we got?
2 previously unpublished stories from the late comic book legend Harvey Pekar will appear in Tales of the Music Makers. Pekar is well known for his comic book series American Splendor, a semi-autobiographical comic book anthology series that was adapted into a 2003 Academy Award-nominated film. The graphic novel Tales of the Music Makers will be available in comic shops February 13th and features autobiographical comics about some of the best musicians you may have never heard of.
Nice.
It seems interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Got a lot of artists on it, a lot of writers. Like, it's pretty cool.
I mean, it's always cool. I mean, like, it's really great when someone's so prolific that, like, they can still unearth like projects by them, like, years later. Like, I always think that's cool. Who knew Picard was a Tupac of comics?
There you go.
There you go. What else do you have?
Yeah, next up, are you ready to rumble? Udon Entertainment is proud to be a silver sponsor for 2019's Free Comic Book Day with an all-new Street Fighter adventure. Street Fighter Sakura vs. Karen #1 will be available for free from local comic shops on Saturday, May 4th, 2019. Additionally, Udon is excited to announce a series of 4 more Street Fighter one-shot comics to be released in March, April, June, and July. These titles will kick off with Street Fighter Menat #1 in March. Look for more details soon on the other Street Fighter characters to be spotlighted in these one-shots.
There you go.
Street Fighter's great.
Street Fighter, I love Street Fighter.
It's like one of the games,
It is,
right?
yeah.
Do that with your friends, you make enemies, you know?
Yeah, for real. Like, you really do. Like, there's been childhood friendships that were, like, destroyed over Street Fighter. Maybe even some adult friendships, actually.
Yeah, you know, depending.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I like Sakura's my, like, go-to.
Oh.
Like, she's, like, always been my go-to.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Ever since, like, I want to say Street Fighter Alpha 3, so.
Nice.
You tell a story with her, I'm into it. All for it.
Very good, very good. Last but not least, the world has spoken and acclaim for the sword-slashing hero Conan's return to Marvel is triumphant. The first 2 issues of Conan the Barbarian have gone back to print, with Conan the Barbarian #2 selling out before hitting stores. Newsarama calls the book the best of both worlds. Not only is it a solidly entertaining introduction of the Cimmerian to a whole new audience of readers, but a reverent adaptation that acknowledges the wealth of material that came before it. So if you missed out the first time around, now's your chance to go and get your hands on that.
Yeah, I have not read this one yet. This is like sitting on next to my bed, but like
It's ready and waiting.
the opening page is like his mother giving birth to him on the battlefield, and I'm like, yes.
You know, as one does.
This is exactly what it's supposed to be, right? I think everybody saw that coming. Like, this book was going to go back to second printing. I will say this: the cover that they're showing for the second printing is interior art, and shout out to Muhammad Azrar because like it's so good that it can be a cover. Like that is that's just like really great stuff right there.
It's got some super character to it.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, like it's King Conan. You got to love that. There's also. I just want to point out that there was a Punisher trailer this week.
Yes.
And so we are getting season 2. Depending on how you feel about the recent cancellations, you're either excited or you might be kind of like, meh. I don't know.
I actually didn't watch season 1.
You didn't watch season 1?
No.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this version of. I'm never sure about any version of the Punisher. If I'm being realistic
Okay,
here.
that's fair. Yeah. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. I don't know if I'm still waiting for the quintessential version of the Punisher.
Yeah, that's I think what I mean when I say that is like we've had all this stuff come out and I'm just like I'm not sure that that's the Punisher.
Right, yeah. I will say this, Sean Bernthal, DC guy, he's from my hometown. Like, no shade to him, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
You know, and he actually really played the part. Like, he's anguished and crazy and all that, so he does a really great job of that. Also, there was Stranger Things trailer this past week.
Yes, indeed.
And they did like a New Year's Eve thing, which I thought was kind of cool. So, yeah, they even complete with Dick Clark and all this other stuff. So, there you go. It's turned into an advert for Netflix again. I feel like every week we end up like low-key, like, advertising for Netflix.
But there's so much good nerd stuff coming out on
there
it.
There is, that's true. Sabrina and everything else. Yeah.
Exactly.
Umbrella Academy, which is coming up. Apparently, Johnny's excited. I put you on Umbrella Academy, Johnny. I just want to point that out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got him.
So now we're going to take a look at the Previews toy chest because comics, of course, aren't the only thing at your local comic shop this week. There's tons of cool toys, action figures, statues, etc. Natasha's here, and she's going to show us exactly what to expect. Check it out.
Hey Previews World, Natasha here to give you a look inside the Previews toy chest. Let's find out what's at comic shops this week. not all. Before heading to your local comic shop, be sure to check out PREVIEWSworld.com/new releases. There you'll find a complete rundown of everything a toy collector could possibly want.
So I actually didn't know that, like, I forgot that the Shuri figure was out this week.
Yeah.
Which is like I've been planning to gift that to a number of people at this point in time. Yeah, that's a really nice one. Also, for me personally, anything Kotobukiya. I'm collecting those X-Men '92 figures, the Bishop and Storm.
Looking good.
And also, you mentioned Scarlet Witch, which
that Scarlet Witch looks really great.
Those Bishoju, I think there's a Bishoju figure, but those those always look cool.
And the Sonic Vinimates.
Yes.
Totally into those, obviously. Yeah.
So we of course are doing a giveaway.
Yep.
Like we always do.
As
Actually, we
always.
didn't do giveaways for a few of these episodes.
Yeah.
So we're back. We're doing another toy giveaway because
More
we haven't done it in
things.
a while. So what are we doing this week?
This week we have ta-da!
Ta-da!
The Karate Kid bobblehead line.
Yes.
So we have good old Daniel-san and everybody here.
Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi and
Johnny Lawrence,
Johnny
who I
Lawrence.
blanked on for a second.
Yep,
yeah.
me too. Which is annoying. I watched Cobra Kai. Very
Yes.
good, right?
I actually need to watch that. I heard somebody. The trailer was great.
It's super good.
I actually want to watch
It's way
that.
better than I expected. So check it out. But if you are into the Karate Kid in any capacity, you want to win these guys, comment below on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching us. Let us know if you are Cobra Kai or Miyagi-Do. And we're actually going to take entrance until next week, right?
Right, yeah,
Until next
We're
Wednesday.
stretching it out.
So we'll give you guys a little bit longer chance to get your comments in,
Yeah.
and you can win them.
There you go. Also, I'm going to call shenanigans because there's no Jaden Smith and there's no Hillary Swank.
It's not the full lineup of Karate Kids.
You're right. It's like all the Karate Kids. They should just do an Avengers thing where it's
do a
just
whole-
the Karate Kids.
Nailed it.
There you go.
Beautiful.
So now we're going to take a look at War Realms, which is a trailer for Marvel Comics. Of course, War Realms is like this big event that they're queuing up for, I want to say spring, is right around the corner. It's by Jason Aaron and Russell Dauterman, and we're going to talk a little bit about it when we get back, but check this out. Very cool trailer.
Because the story really begins when that war that's been brewing for years in the pages of Thor explodes here in Midgard, explodes on Earth. And at that point, it's bigger than just a Thor battle. Everyone becomes a part of that battle.
Jason Aaron is basically incapable of writing scripts that are not new reader friendly. He writes super accessible stories that everybody can get. So even though this story involves a lot of different moving pieces and elements from the Thor comics and the Avengers comics, it's something that everybody can just dive into.
So now we're finally at the point where that war has made it through 9 of those 10 realms, and the only one left that hasn't been touched yet is this one, is ours, it's Midgard. So with War of the Realms #1, the inciting incident is when people in Times Square look out the window one day and a portal opens up and frost giants and dark elves and fire demons come pouring out. So that war finally makes it here to New York City. And suddenly it's not just a Thor story anymore, it's an Avengers story, it's a everybody story.
The War of the Realms is literally war for everyone. So all the players in the Marvel Universe have to get involved. And it's just a great chance to see, you can't see all our characters get together anywhere else but big, cool stories like this.
And that was War of the Realms from Marvel Comics, and I know that the general attitude when it comes to crossovers is that they're going to suck. This actually looks pretty good.
It looks really cool.
And it's Jason Aaron, who actually writes Conan, which we talked about earlier, amongst other things. And it's Russell Dauterman, and I don't know if you've seen Russell Dauterman's artwork, but it's great.
Solid team.
It's really, really good.
sure.
So, and it's just in general, this is a cool concept. If you're familiar with even just the Marvel movies, you understand the concept of the 9 realms and how they stack on each other, and just imagine all of them going to war.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very curious about this. It kind of came out of not really. He's been building toward
Yeah,
for a
I
while.
was gonna say. Didn't come out of nowhere
Didn't
at
come
all.
out of nowhere at all. I think he started building on this when Jane Foster was Thor. So yeah, pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
I also just want to point out in the news this past week, we also found out that there was going to be a book called War of the Realms, Journey into Mystery. It was going to be a tie-in. And for those of you who are familiar with the I'm saying this wrong. McElroy brothers.
McElroy.
McElroy. Okay, McElroy brothers. My bad. It was way off.
The McElroy brothers.
McElroy brothers.
They're great.
The Macklemore brothers.
Nailed it.
I didn't know this, but they do the Adventure Zone podcast.
They do.
And apparently they're going to be doing a Marvel comic. It's going to be a tie-in book for War of the Realms. So more reasons
exciting.
to watch.
Yes.
More reasons to pay
They're
attention.
great. They're great writers too.
Yeah.
Like they're good people.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I'm
Hilarious.
I know a lot of people who are into the show, so maybe I'll actually pay attention to it.
You should
now.
check it out.
There you go. So now we're going to do Social Swamp. And last week we asked you guys about your Nerd New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, we did.
And you gave them to us. So here we go. Let's talk about it. Let's put you on the spotlight and see what you had to say.
So yeah, like we said, we asked you guys what your Nerd New Year's resolutions were, and we got some great responses. Angus Moore said, my Nerd New Year's resolution is to play more Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and catch up on the graphic novels I missed. Very good. Tyrone Peak Jr. said, my nerd resolution is read at least one comic a day. I'm so behind on my comics. I understand
That's a real thing, yeah. 100%.
Super Radness said, my Nerd New Year's resolution is to fight harder for the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
I'm going to say something about that in a second, but yes.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Pencil for Life says, resolution is to finish my book and get it printed.
I love that.
Very admirable. And Xia Li says, my nerd resolution is to get a tattoo of a comic character.
Yeah. Two things I want to point out. First of all, the Zack Snyder cut. It's not a real thing, guys. You need to let it go.
Give it up, guys.
I
Come
get
on.
it as someone who kind of liked Batman vs. Superman when everyone hated it, but it's not a real thing, guys. It's not. But also, I so many people said, I gotta get through my stack. I gotta read, and that was your point last week.
Yeah.
Actually, that was like your whole
too.
thing. Yeah, because there's just so much stuff.
There
and
is. There's so much, but there's so much good stuff too. And
Yes.
you always find something new, and you're like, oh, that looks great, and then you get it, and then it sits there, right?
Right, yeah.
So making yourself make the effort to put aside the time to read everything.
To read. And I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he started reading 100 Bullets recently.
Cool.
And, he was just like, I'd much rather be doing this than watching TV. And I was like, I totally get it.
But
it's
the
just,
go-to is to pick up your cell phone or get on the computer or turn on the TV.
All right.
And you
Just veg
put
out.
the screen down, guys.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah.
And get a good story.
Yeah, I mean, it's good I think personally, it's just good for your brain. You know, it's
Oh, it absolutely
just
is.
starts firing when the synapses and all this stuff. And I just think it's cool. I just saw a lot of that and I was like, you're not alone, Thea. And I'm definitely in that boat too. I just said I had Conan sitting next to my bed and I haven't read it yet. Also, I just thought it was interesting that, was it Xylee? Xylee?
I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it
That's
either.
fair.
I'm terrible.
Sorry, buddy. I really apologize.
I'm saying Sha.
Sha?
Sha.
Okay, we'll go with that. You can correct us if you want to.
Please.
But yeah, I thought the tattoo thing was kind of interesting
Yeah.
because I have a comic book character tattoo.
Oh,
You have a video game
I
character
do,
tattoo.
yes.
I thought that was really cool.
Nerd tattoos.
Nerd tattoos. And I want to expand on mine actually, so I think I might steal that one from him.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah.
I'll probably never have the money for it.
Right, yeah. It's also,
That's part of the problem.
That's part of the
But I
problem.
definitely have some other nerd tattoos that I'm like, ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah, I'm into it. I love that. That was great, guys. Yeah, you can continue sending us your Nerd New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Feel free to drop them into our comments. It's just good to have a dialogue about these things and just talk about them.
Yeah, we like to see what everybody that's watching us is up to
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
interested in.
That's almost it for us this week, but we want to do a comic shop shout out like we always do.
Yeah, so like every week, we want to know what your guys' favorite local comic shop is. So let us know on social media wherever you can find us. Use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS and we can shout you out on the show.
And be sure to tune in next week. Find out if you won the Karate Kid set of 3. And that's it for this week. We'll catch you guys next Wednesday at 4 p.m. on New Comic Book Day. I'm Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and we'll see you at the Spinner Rack.
Thanks for watching Previews World Weekly. If you like the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes.